This is Kugan Cassius for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. Delighted to be joined by A-Force himself, Mr. Audley Harrison. I don't know what part of the world you're in. I'm assuming America. How are you, Audley?
Yeah, I'm good, buddy. Good to hear you. Good to hear you. Good to see you. I'm in Los Angeles, California, quarantining in California. So, we're hanging in there, navigating this new crazy reality home with the wife, the two kids, doing the homeschooling and just, just trying to avoid catching this virus because obviously, 85% of the people catch it. It's nothing, but the 10% of the people who catch it is really bad for them. So I'm trying to play the game and, staying as much as I can, do the home quarantine.
I think I read a stat yesterday that over in America, it kind of topped over 25,000 in the death toll. I think we've hit nearly 13,500, 14,000 now in the UK. This is very serious, Audley.
Yeah, it's a bad situation because they don't have they don't have the vaccine. But I mean, with the vaccine, as you see with the flu and everything else, people are passing. But I'm one of those guys. I'm not comfortable about taking no vaccine, So I just hope that people do find it kind of this flatten the curve that they've been talking about. Because obviously, once you got it, you can't catch it again. So I just hope that it passes through us, the nation, through the different nations, and the other side of this is every setback there's a bounce back. Obviously, a lot of people have lost loved ones, which is obviously tough. A lot of people have passed away, but this is going to be something we're talking. Our grandchildren and great grandchildren are going to talk about this in 100 years, 200 years. That this was a crazy pandemic. This is going to be spoken about in the future generations. That this was like a crazy lockdown that shut down everything. So definitely to be a part of it is something that we're never going to forget.
I'll come on to some boxing talk with you in a bit, Audley. But
yeah,
tomorrow, well, by the time this goes out, this will be later on today. Obviously, the David A documentary on Amazon Prime, David versus Goliath, is released. I've watched it myself and spoken to David about it. But you were involved in that, obviously, swanning off to the Philippines to kind of help David with his preparation. But how was the whole experience of you two guys working together poker-wise as opposed to boxing-wise?
Yeah, it's with the boxing world, it was because obviously I came through the door first with winning the gold and then setting up my company, A-Force Promotions, and then David came through with him winning championships and Haymaker Promotion. So it's kind of good because obviously now in poker, I've been in the game a long time, living in Vegas, played poker, been fortunate to kind of meet some of the top pros and, become friends with them. And so I have a lot of experience. And, David, obviously, when I heard about his journey, starting his poker, I said, hey, I wish you the best of luck. And he had 3 coaches, and I think just the way that they were training him and, their methodologies wasn't quite working for David. So I think, frustrated. He was frustrated. He reached out to me. It kind of just worked with my schedule. I just finished training, actually, one of the biggest poker players in the world, Antonio Esfandaria, who was boxing Kevin Hart. So I ended up training him for the Kevin Hart gig. And the day after that fight, I flew out to Philippines. I spoke to David on the phone. He said, hey, look, I need help. I'm like, hey, let me put let me think about it. Once I thought about it, I said, look, we need to take you out of the box. Think about it. And I think I can help get you there. He didn't have a lot of time left. But, whether I'm teaching boxing, whether I'm teaching poker, whatever I'm teaching, me, I've got a lot of knowledge in many different fields. Poker's now another thing that I've acquired some skill sets in. And I'm a very good teacher because I've always been taught by the best, even in boxing, Fel Torrance, Buddy McGirt, Shadi Saluki, or great trainers, esteemed trainers. Same as poker, Antonio Esfandaria, Daniel Negreanu. Everywhere I go, I'm able to get the knowledge and then obviously pass it on. So it was a great experience being able to help David out, and obviously he delivered in the biggest way possible. It's a very well done documentary. When I watched it, I was like, they've done a really good job, because I know they had a lot of content, and I think the way they boiled it down, they've done a really good job, and David done an amazing job in terms of the time that he had to kind of turn it around. But David's a competitor. He's a fight. He's got a fighting heart, fighting mentality. So and just the universe, it just all came together, and it was a really good fun adventure traveling around to the Philippines, back to Vegas, Los Angeles. Introducing David to my circle, my poker circle. It was really good.
From the documentary, obviously, David had the three coaches from the UK, and one of them was particularly kind of having a pop at you, Audley.
Yeah, I know. So I didn't get to meet them until Vegas, and obviously the commentary guys and the editors kind of was telling me, filling me in, that they were kind of like, they weren't the most favourable. But obviously, when they met me, it was all positive, as they do. And the fact that in the tournament, these are poker pros. I'm not a poker pro. I'm like a poker pro. I'm close to it. But I was able to outlast them in Vegas and back in the UK, except for the girl Katie. So just like in boxing, my credentials speak for themselves. You know what I mean? So people talk, but can't really worry about the talkers. It's the doers that matter, and I'm a doer, and that's what matters. Keep moving forward and just keep shining my light.
Absolutely. Audley, obviously, it seems incredible that kind of in our current situation that we even got to saw the Fury-Wilder rematch, which happened in February, which was less than 2 months ago. But it's crazy to think that fight even took place now. But over this last sort of few days, we've heard some comments from Deontay Wilder regarding Tyson Fury's win, saying that he doesn't regard Fury as a champion yet until they've had the third fight, stating that that wasn't the real Deontay Wilder in there. I don't know if you've seen those comments, Audley, but these are the only comments that Wilder has made in the last couple of days on a podcast with PBC. What do you make of those?
I think obviously Deontay being a champion, had been unbeaten for so long. I've been through it as a guy. When I was unbeaten, you just never could think that you're going to lose. And I know when I lost to Danny Williams, all I could think about in the rematch was, destruction. So that's the right thing to think about as a fighter. But, your team are going to tell you, and the people around you, are going to tell you, and at some point you're going to know yourself that if he goes into the next fight with the same attitude that he had, he's going to have the same outcome. He has to look at it in the mirror at some point and say, I love Deontay Wilder, just like Tyson Fury. I got a lot of love for them. But the reality is, Tyson Fury kind of outmatched him mentally, physically. He had the game plan. Everything was Tyson Fury that night. And you've got to take your hat off to Tyson Fury. You've got to give him credit. Maybe the fighter doesn't want to give him credit. And I've seen other fighters do that, come through. But the problem is that you've got to go back in the ring with him again, and you have to make some adjustments, as you saw with Joshua and Ruiz. They knew they kind of messed up with Ruiz, and they was able to correct it. With the Tyson Fury loss, it wasn't really that he messed up. It's just Tyson Fury had the game plan that was just right in every department. So that's something that he's going to have to adjust. So although I haven't seen the comments, I just know that at some point that they just got to take that big look in the mirror and say, look, this is on me. Whether it's the suit was 40 pounds or, whatever you want to say. And obviously I've been through it. Whatever you want to say when you got, rocks on your back and you're walking up the hill, ultimately you're going to be judged on your performance. And it's almost like I think he should just put that performance, put that loss, stop talking about that loss and just focus on you've got another opportunity and just focus on that, because that's going to be a lot based off how he lost, how Tyson Fury won. Tyson's confidence is going to be through the roof. Weight's now going to be a factor. He knows he can lean on him. He knows he can bully him. So, Deontay Wilder's never been in that position where he's been pushed back like that. And that was the way to get him. But nobody could do that. So the fact that Tyson Fury's been able to pull it out, you got to give him all the plaudits. I sparred with Deontay Wilder, boxed Deontay Wilder. And even in sparring, it was hard to back him up. You're always walking onto that right hand. You're always trying to get off that right hand. So I think Tyson Fury is the man of the moment. And Deontay's got work to do to come back, but he can come back. He can come back, but there just has to be, that reflection and just digging down and just, the outcome is obviously you got to put Tyson Fury as the favorite based off the last performance, and just how his mood is. But right now, I think the fight that should really be happening is obviously Tyson Fury AJ. But obviously contract's a contract, and obviously Deontay Wilder's got a great team around him with Al Heyman and the boys. So obviously they're gonna make sure that it's done right contractually. So we'll have to see.
We'll come on to Joshua and Fury in a minute. I was at that fight that you had with Deontay Wilder in Sheffield about 7-8 years ago. I didn't know that you used to spar him though, Audley. How many rounds do you think you sparred him, Deontay Wilder?
Probably about 40 rounds. So when I boxed David Price 2012, I had Deontay Wilder, Malik Scott, and Joe Hank. So all were unbeaten at the time. And, I really was thinking, boy, I'm back. But to be honest, my balance was already getting bad. It was already bad anyway. But, sparring with Deontay, we done about 40 rounds. Actually, 2 weeks before the fight with David Price, Deontay put me down. It wasn't a shot. It was a shot, but with his elbow, it caught me right in the. It was a punch. He threw a big, wild right hand punch right through me, and then like the elbow followed up, went right through my eye. Almost gave me almost popped my eye. And so for 8 days, it was touch and go. I was running and doing everything else, but I couldn't box, couldn't even do pad work really. So I almost cancelled and pulled out of that fight with David Price. And then obviously getting banged out in a round, I should have, because the camp got really kind of destroyed because of what happened with, with getting my eye. It was like almost had a detached retina. It was very lucky, having all the floaters they call it, and it was really bad. But yeah, so and that's why I built respect and got a lot of time for Deontay from that camp, and even though it ended early in terms of the sparring, but we had a good 3 weeks. We had a good 3 weeks in camp, and that's why when I got the opportunity to fight him when I came back, I said, I know his weaknesses. I feel like, because you saw even that fight where he banged me out, as you saw it at the first minute, I was moving around. I was quite confident. Then he trapped me in the corner. It wasn't quite as good, but I was trying to walk him onto my left hand. Straight away, I popped it over the top. If you watch it go back, I went boom, because I knew what his weakness was, like I said. But even when he stopped me, as you can see, Howard Foster, I was pushing. I did not want to be stopped, and I was very animated about him not stopping the fight. I felt I could get back into it. Obviously, looking back on how dangerous Deontay became, it's kind of like a good thing that they saved me from myself, But yeah, Deontay is wild. He's wild and he's dangerous. But Tyson Fury's style and his height, and he's just the way he switched his game plan up, where he used all of his attributes that Deontay didn't have, with his size, and was able to push him and bully him. It was very, very well done. And I was impressed with Tyson Fury before, but even more impressed because the moves that he made to Sugar Hill and Andy Lee, obviously with the Kronk kind of, because I knew as soon as he went with Kronk, Kronk, Emmanuel Stewart, one thing about Emmanuel, you see he'd get on Lennox's back, he always wanted to finish the show. He always wanted aggression. He wanted you boxing smart, but he's always looking to be, you always got to be aggressive. Fel Torrance was the same way with me. Audley, you got to be an aggressive counterpuncher. You can't just be a counterpuncher that box. You have to be aggressive. You have to have that. So you saw that was the change in Tyson Fury. He had that intention, whereas normally Tyson's boxing on the back foot. When he went to Kronk, they made him become an aggressive, all of the same things, but just add that aggressive factor. And you can see that was as dangerous as hell.
You was just touching on the possibility of a Joshua and Fury fight, which is kind of been gathering a little bit of talk at the moment. In order for that to happen, Kubrat Pulev would have to step aside and Wilder would have to step aside if we were to see that fight this year realistically. But can you see those circumstances happening, especially with Wilder stepping aside from his trilogy fight with Tyson Fury? It seems a bit unlikely.
I agree. Just obviously, it's a fantasy fight at the moment. I can't see Deontay Wilder stepping aside right now. How he's talking, pride is there, and contractually, he knows he's good. So I just can't see him stepping aside. But like from a boxing point of view, and obviously the boxing careers now are so fast, you don't have a chance to slip. To go back to the drawing board, you saw it with. You almost got to go back to the drawing board straight away and try to correct it. But in terms of like boxing development, it'd be good if he had 6 months, which he's having now. So maybe that's happening now. I know with quarantine, people can't really mix, but maybe that's happening now where he's getting that time right now to kind of work on those fundamentals that he hasn't felt he needed to do, because that's what he needs. He needs some time to work on those fundamentals. So maybe he's now got the time to do it. But for those reasons, and contractually, I just don't think Deontay's going to jump out of the way. Same as Pulev. I don't think he's going to jump out of the way. These promoters, rightly or wrongly, same as if it was Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, they're not going to step aside. And step aside money, Deontay's made enough money probably now. I mean, he must be up in the 20 million plus. He's made decent money where he doesn't have to, take the payday to step aside. In the old days, step aside was good, but I think now the fighters at the top are making so much money, they're not going to step aside. Pulev may do it. Because he hasn't earned the kind of income yet that AJ's earned or a Deontay's earned. But those two, and even Tyson Fury, they're not going to do no step aside. I can't see it.
It does seem quite unrealistic. I think everyone's kind of more hopeful of that situation arising rather than being realistic. Who do you kind of list as your number one heavyweight in the world right now?
I think you've got to go with Tyson Fury. Just because, obviously Deontay AJ had that blip. Came back tremendously. But the Ruiz that turned up for the second fight obviously weren't the Ruiz that turned up for the first fight. But regardless, Anthony Joshua should have beaten Ruiz the first time. So the fact that he corrected it the second, same as Hasim Rahman, Lennox slipping with Hasim Rahman, just came back and corrected it the second time. Now you're back on track. Now you can continue your career to greatness. It was just a blip. Corrected it like a great champion does. So you got to take your hat off to AJ for that. Big up. But I think Deontay Wilder, before Tyson Fury fought him, was an unknown danger man, regarded as the most dangerous man in the division. And Tyson Fury took him on. The first time a lot of people thought that Tyson Fury won the first fight. I was okay with the draw, kind of. But the second fight, Tyson Fury's put himself as number one heavyweight in the world. And AJ's put himself number 2 heavyweight in the world, right there. And you can't, if people say AJ's the number 1, you can't argue with that. But the only way that's going to be proven for me is AJ and Tyson Fury has to fight. They have to fight. And, we waited a long time for Lennox and Tyson, and we waited a long time for a lot of the fighters. It builds the excitement. And obviously, Anthony Joshua is already selling out Wembley Stadium, the soccer stadium. So they're going to have to put this fight on the moon, because you're going to have 300,000 people watching the fight if you could, but there's no place that can hold it. So, kudos to the guys, and kudos to boxing right now. Boxing's in an exciting place where, heavyweights, all weights. They say that if the health of the division is garnered by looking at the heavyweights, it's in a great place. And when I look back to Eddie Hearn's start, with me and Michael Sprott fight, that's kind of where it all started. So I know I just done an interview with one of the nationals, talking about the Olympics, and obviously it's not happening, but just 20 years since my Olympic success, and just what it meant for boxing, amateur and professional, and I kind of know where it started, and take my hat off to Frank Warren as well. He's bounced back, and he's back in the big time with BT Sport, and obviously Tyson Fury. So boxing's in a beautiful place. It's in a great place where it's mainstream as it's ever been. That's a beautiful thing.
Can you pick a winner from Fury and Joshua?
I can make arguments. If you're a boxing, I'm not partial for Fury or Joshua. There's no I've got no favoritisms either side. So I can make, if you got logic and you're a boxing man like me, and you're a boxing man in terms of just understanding the game, and you can break it down and make a case for each one. Nobody can logically say, oh, Tyson Fury definitely going to win this. And, if you're a diehard Tyson Fury fan, you're going to say that all day long. If you're an anti-Joshua fan, you're going to be able to make a case for anti-Joshua to win the fight. There's no way it's going to be a walkover for Joshua. There's no way it's going to be a walkover for Tyson Fury. I see there's a few different scenarios that could play out, and come the fight day, each one could play out. So Tyson Fury could definitely, now he's got the kind of aggressive counterpuncher kind of close down the ring. It's all about boxing at the highest levels, about timing and distance. So in the first fight, Anthony Joshua, when he fought Ruiz, he got his timing and distance all wrong. He didn't control the space. And then in the second fight, that was the difference. He controlled the space, and obviously Ruiz wasn't in the same kind of shape, but it didn't matter. He controlled the space. When you're a tall guy, you got to control the space. In the second fight, with Anthony Joshua in his second fight, he just got away from him. Tyson Fury in the second fight with AJ, he said he needs the space because he likes to back me up. I'm going to come on him and walk forward. So I'm going to take away. So he controlled the space. There was no fight because in Deontay Wilder's team's mind, they never ever thought that was going to happen. So they had no game plan for it. So Anthony Joshua in the fight with Tyson Fury, from a boxing point of view, I'm thinking he's going to struggle a little bit if Tyson Fury does all the things that he can do from going backwards and going forwards, because you got to control that space. So as long as they understand that, and you'll find a little bit of a taller guy, so you don't have the advantage. That was one of the problems for me when I got the taller guy and I couldn't move as well. Same happened with Price, happened with Deontay Wilder. Don't mention David Haye because obviously he wasn't as tall. But with those two guys, I couldn't control the space. And I couldn't move away and bounce around like I normally get out of the way because I was in range for his right hand either way. So I think when Joshua boxes Fury, that's going to be his problem because the range of Fury's a little higher, he's a little taller, and he's going to be able to close the space and he's going to be able to move away. So he's going to be a little harder for AJ, but I still think AJ's got a lot of gumption. He's got a lot of stuff and he's still learning on the game, that it makes it a 50-50 fight for me. It's really hard for me to pick it. But I can definitely make a strong argument for Tyson Fury, but I can make a definitely just as strong argument for Anthony Joshua. It's going to be a great fight if it happens. It needs to happen. Not this year. I think it's going to happen maybe and especially with what's going on now. I don't think Fury's going to fight Deontay this year, and I don't think Joshua's going to fight Pulev this year. So you're talking about the latter part of next year, after they've got those two fights out of the way. We see them two, the two Brits.
Well, we certainly hope so. Do you miss it, Audley? Do you miss it? Do you miss the game?
It's like I was just talking in this interview, and they're like, Audley, why aren't you? Obviously you had that thing with Antonio and Kevin Hart. You're not yearning to get back in there, like just business-wise, promoting-wise, training-wise. And I kind of said, I'm not missing it. When I left boxing, I had nothing left in terms of in the ring. I retired. I lost to Deontay 2013, and I took 2 years training in the gyms. I took more punishment in the gyms in the last 2 years trying to come back. I got permanent double vision because of that. Those 2 years in the gym. I'm seeing one of you that side, Coogan. I'm seeing the other side, and the other one of you is on that side. So, I have permanent double vision because of it. So that's like my brain. That's like determined the traumatic brain injury part, where I have double vision. And but in terms of how I'm functioning, I'm functioning. I was already functioning like 95% of the population, winning gold medals. I was already an elite individual in terms of what I was doing. Now I'm just kind of like regular. I'm just daddy. Superman's no longer here. But I'm still functioning okay. I'm still functioning okay. But the thing about training, like, I had a big operation with A-Force Promotion. 22 staff and my own team, like Colin McMillan and big team members working for me. But I couldn't do that. I don't think I could do that sitting in a camp, traveling around the country. Like I see Eddie, what Eddie's doing, even what you're doing. I just couldn't do that right now. Like traveling around with like guiding. I would love to do it, but I can't do it because I can't commit that kind of time. Right now I've got my fingers in a few different pies and I'm kind of just loving that. I've always been like that. When I went to the Olympics, I'd set up the amateur boxing union of England. I was an MC in the nightclubs. I was a personal trainer. I had my hand in a lot of different pies, but I knew I had to kind of cut it all off and focus just so I can go and win that gold medal. And I just think, I got a lot to give to boxing. And I give, like, when people come over here, I'll go down to the gym with them. Maybe I'll give them some advice privately. Same with poker. Same with now. I'm a poker mentor now, and I'll give that advice. But like to jump in both feet, I've thought about it. I've even like kind of said, Eddie, maybe I should ride back in, because who has got my experience from from a training point of view, from a managing point of view, from a promoting point of view? I've done it all at the highest level, sat down with the Ross Greenbergs, the Al Heymans, Barney Francis before, everybody I've sat down with, and I've negotiated deals at the highest level. From a training point of view, I've been in the gym, from Lennox Lewis to everyone else, and the trainers I've had, who's done it at my level, who's got this in here, this knowledge. And now I've gone into a new world of the poker, and I've gone into the poker and done the same again. And before boxing, I was an MC in the nightclubs, and I was doing security. I've done everywhere I go. I kind of give it my all, learn the most that I can learn. So I'm just one of those guys who's a wily old soul, got a lot to give, but I just can't go all in with boxing right now. And obviously, if I was in the UK, maybe I would. Right now, I'm in the hair care business, so I'm in a new space now, the hair care business, and my wife, obviously, she's the celebrity hairstylist, and but I've kind of, there's many hairstylists all over the country trying to, they're just renting a chair in a salon. We're a team with 15 employees. We're closed at the moment because everyone's closed, and now I've kind of taken on the hair care part of the business. We've got 15 products, 31 SKUs, and I took that on in 2015. I said, I'm going to scale this. And so I'm now focused on scaling my wife's business, so to speak. And I'm kind of passionate about it. It's not my space, but I've kind of learned about it through her. And it's exciting. So I'm kind of in a new space and scaling this hair care business right now. And it's $1 billion industry. So it's like boxing. There's money to be made, but there's you're serving a population that needs it. Everybody washes their hair, even you, Coogan. Even you wash your hair. Everybody washes their hair. So these products are really good. So my job now is a marketing man, because I'm, Eddie's the promoter with the motor, but I'm the other guy who can sell. But they used to say this guy could sell. He could sell ice to the Eskimos. So I'm out there now, going to use that marketing hustle and that business acumen to scale this hair care business.
You know what? It's really good to kind of see you doing well. I remember when I was not the last time I was in LA, but I obviously came to your salon. This must have been about 7 or 8 years ago when I came, and we did an interview there.
Yeah.
In Calabasas. I don't know.
Kim Kardashian country. Yep, Calabasas. Yeah.
Calabasas. Yeah. So it's good to see you doing well, Audley, and I can see obviously you still take an interest in the sport as listening to the way you talk. So. Yeah, it's good to see you kind of keeping yourself well.
Yeah. I mean, like, listen, I wanted more. Of course, I wanted more from the pro game, and I deserved more, but I didn't get it. And people could say, forget all the promotion and the business side, just from a fighter. And I'm a very proud man, so like, to losing to David Haye the way I lost, and just to have to live with that, knowing that when I fought Michael Sprott, it was almost already over. I was kind of done, and to have that opportunity to fight Michael Sprott, having him beating me, Michael Sprott, I used to spar with Michael Sprott from when I first turned pro. So having him beat me in 2007, in that fight, and then having the opportunity to avenge that, he banged me out on that Frank Warren bill, where I was, after I just beaten Danny Williams in the rematch, he's back. Yeah, I'm going to win that world title. I'm going to do it. And then to lose to Michael Sprott in that way, and then, to have the door reopen and fight him. And I tore my pec in that fight. I tore my pec in that rematch with Sprott. And to bang him out and get that win. And then now I'm having an opportunity to fight for the world title. But in all honesty, the reality of it, my pec was tore again, and I had the surgery, and David's team, Adam Booth, offered me that world title opportunity. I'm like, yeah, it's an opportunity to fight for it. But the reality is going to camp and thinking I could pull it out, and, not delivering not delivering a world title is something I have to live with, because I'm definitely good enough. And, fighting the system, definitely, I know it took its toll, but, no apologies. That's the road that I took. It's the road I wanted, and every injury that I got from, just so I was just telling the guy, the journalist for this Olympic piece that's coming up, I was Superman. There's no doubt about I was Superman because of how I prepared. I felt like I was Superman, I took on that invincibility and just, preparation, every surgery that I had, from my, the Olympics, after the Olympics, my knuckle went for the second time. I had my first operation, 98, my second operation, 2000, and then 2004 I had my third operation on my knuckle. When I look back, every operation that I had took a little bit from me, but like you just keep, you took a little piece of your arm, and then the pec tears, and then the hernia repairs. It was just everything. When you look back, you think, and then you made it double hard because then you took on the system, and now you've got, it's just how much more things can you add as you're climbing this mountain? And it's just, which I kind of preach to the kids now. The only reason why you need to focus and lock off is because you've got so much to concentrate on in the ring. You have enough to concentrate on in the ring. If you've got the right people around you, you can build it. But the problem with boxing, as you've seen with the litany of cases that happen, is that unfortunately the people that come up with you, which is your family members or your close team, you need to bring in somebody else who's an expert who can help you, whether that's a lawyer or a business manager who can help you, because there's a lot of revenue there. I took my business acumen. I was a street hustler, went to a young offenders institution, then I went to university. So I had the street hustle, and then I had the educational hustle. So I thought I have enough life skills, skill sets that I can do it myself, which is why I was able to go and do my own BBC deal that nobody had done. But when the shit started hitting the fan, as you heard Frank Maloney, now Kelly Maloney, said in the Big Brother house, Audley, we could not make you make it. We had to, whatever we could do, Kelly said it herself in the house, we couldn't make you make it. So the fact I could have still got through, even though every hurdle and obstacle was put in my way, I could have still made it. Yeah, it got to me in the end, and Superman kind of broke down, didn't get there. But almost did. Almost got through the door. And so when I look at Anthony Joshua now, I know he's behind the scenes, he's running the operation. When I look at Haymaker Promotion, look at Calm Promotion, look at Hatton Promotion, and know where they all came from, but I was the first guy through the door. So I kind of had to take the bullet, because I had to fight the kind of anti-wave of, hey, boxers can't do it all on their own. Boxers shouldn't be their promoters and managers. So I was the first one through the door. And then in the end, when I look back, it took something from me. But I had to take that fight, and I was the first one through the door. And it's just how it is, So when I look back on it, I look back on my career fondly. It was great. Yeah, I know I should have got more, could have got more. But in the end, live and kicking, nothing but love for the game. Nothing like love for my life that I was able to turn it around, and it moves on, And when I look at Joshua, look at Amir Khan, look at James DeGale, look at David, look at all of them, look at Carl. I know they just got to remember. Look at me in my eye now. Remember, you know where it came from, And when people try to slate me in that, I know I walk loud and proud because I know what I've done for the game, and it's all good, man. It's all good.
Well, listen, Audley, much appreciate your time on IFL TV tonight or today for you. 7-hour difference, I think. Is it a 7-hour difference? What is it, an 8 hour?
8 hours now, 8 hours. Yeah.
Difference, yeah. But appreciate you giving us some time, and just hope you keep yourself safe and your family safe, and we kind of come out of this situation as quick as possible.
Yeah, I agree. And Coogan, I heard you say some things today on your Twitter about Mr. Piers Morgan. You're becoming like very astute, Mr. Coogan, and you're becoming like worldly. You're becoming wise. And you know, when you first used to post, you remember some of the stuff you used to post?
Yeah, let's not go into that all
right. So you've kind of grown up, you've kind of matured, and you're posting stuff that's like people are thinking about, and it's very good. So Coogan, I want to give you a round of applause to say, what's your progression and growth? And very well done. You should be proud of yourself. You're doing a great job.
Thank you very much, Audley. I just want to point out, my tweet about Piers Morgan was what it was. I think Piers Morgan's pressing questions to ministers and people, government people, and whoever on these issues are good.
Yeah.
Very good, in fact, and he should be doing that. I just feel like sometimes they should be let to speak.
Of course. And the people that know that, they go on there and they don't let him bully him. You've seen some people go on there and they know that they're going to happen, and they're prepared to back him down so that they can get their point across. Because if they don't, he will run all over them and he'll run through them. Because, you know, he's been in the industry so long. He's strong. He's an expert interviewer. And it's like, if you're an expert interviewer, then you know how to get one over on the next one. A lot of these people come on there, they're not expert interviewers. So, you know, he's able to take advantage of them. But like you said, he makes some very good points that the nation's thinking about, but you have to let them speak. So I think that was very good of you to say that.
That was my point. All right, well, listen, Audley, thank you very much. I'll let you get on with the rest of your day, and hopefully we'll catch up again in the near future, my friend.
All right, bud. You take care. And stay safe, people over there in the UK. Worldwide, stay safe. Because I know you've got a worldwide audience now. Stay safe. The stay-at-home orders is not for you per se. It's for your family members and the elders. Okay, so the stay-at-home, I know it's hot outside, and you're thinking, why bother? Washing your hands, why bother? All of those little steps. I know a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, a DJ, she got it, her family, whole family got it. And they almost passed. And so somebody close, I knew that they almost passed. It was really tough. And obviously there's a lot of people that pass. If you are that 5% you get it, you're in a fight for your life. So you just don't want to get it. I know they've got a couple of vaccines out there now that, you know, that might help people. Take your vitamins, man. Take your vitamin C, take your zinc. You know, just like boost your immune system. It definitely makes a difference. And just stay healthy, man, and just keep positive. Remember, PMA, positive mental attitude, is the key. Don't get depressed in your home. Reach out to loved ones and stay safe and keep positive, okay? So all this blaming. The thing about the insidious part of the UK, that why I left the UK, unfortunately, and it's the same as America, is that people love kicking people when they're down. I just don't understand it. Like, lift people up. What the F is wrong with you? Lift people up. We're all going to fall. That is life. Part of living is failing, and it's okay. Everyone just want to kick them when they're down. Like, lift people up. Like, lift the people up around you. Like, be like a positive life. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. So just come on, UK. Right now, in these times of real worry, nationwide worry, let's just pick each other up. Let's find something positive we can get out of every negative situation. Because there's a positive. There's something positive that you can find it, and hold on to it, and make that be you. For real. Audley Harrison, out.
Absolutely spot on. Audley, thank you very much, and hopefully we'll catch up with you again soon.
All right, bud. One love.